I've met plenty of celebrities. You get a salute. I might give you a fist bump. I might give you a pound. I wouldn't sweat them. Don't ask for pictures. Don't ask for autographs. For what? I just don't trust you guys. Whomever you can think of that was caught up in the scandal. Imagine if you went out here and got a tattoo of that person. You got to be wise when you're choosing the athletes you support, the entertainers, all the above. Welcome back to the channel. This is Can I Be Ernest on what is a gloomy, gray autumn afternoon. You see the title. Denzel Washington proves that he's human. You know, a lot of us are guilty of celebrity worshiping, be it when you were younger or even as an adult. I've learned over the years, it's probably the silliest, goofiest thing we can do as a society. But Denzel Washington has been making the rounds lately in the news. His current film, Gladiator 2, and that whole hoopla with him having a scene cut out where he kisses another male, which is also referenced as the kiss of death. Something that you primarily see in a lot of mob movies from back in the day. It's pretty much the kiss of death. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's the last kiss. It's kind of like an intimidating thing to do to your op, your nemesis, whatever you want to refer him as, before you off him. We've seen it in The Godfather. We've seen it in various flicks. But Denzel has mentioned that it was cut out of this film. And a lot of people were disappointed, myself included, because Denzel Washington carries himself to a high standard. At least that's what we've seen publicly. Having been married to his wife for 40 years or so, refusing to do certain scenes with other women, whatever it is, he seemed to be a model citizen and didn't allow Hollywood to, get the best of him. That's what his mouth said. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And as I've learned, it doesn't make sense to, put these guys on pedestals because they are prone to make mistakes like us. The problem that I have with Denzel is not that he preaches. It's not that he preaches and tries to, prove that he does right and everyone does wrong. But it's that after all these years, I'm starting to hear things now. In the early 2000s, you heard little rumblings about a possible affair with a few other actresses. And that kind of got swept under the rug pretty quickly. And then it was quiet. And let me just put this on record. Denzel is probably my favorite actor. I'm not really into celebrity worshiping. I hate Hollywood personally, but I do like Denzel in the roles that he chooses. They've all been pretty dominant roles. He didn't compromise himself from what it seems. And most of his movies are exceptional. I can't really name a bad Denzel Washington movie. I'd be hard pressed to be able to find one. But again, it's how he carried himself. He's like the uncle to a lot of young actors, especially black actors, male actors at that. But in a recent article, Denzel has admitted to treating his body poorly with substance abuse, be it alcohol, drugs. He has admitted to being sober for the last 10 years. I guess his vice was drinking wine. To some of us, wine is nothing. But to Denzel, wine was a big deal. He's even admitted to shooting dope, heroin. I don't know how often, but in the article, which you can find on people.com, I'll put the link in the description, he admits to it. Denzel. Now, I get it. He's an older man. He's in his 60s. He grew up in an era where, heroin was probably all the rage. It's pretty much today's pill popping, and other hard drugs. And he does say that he does admit that he didn't use hard drugs, but he tried it. Now, I know most of Hollywood, most of these guys are probably strung out. We know this. We've heard the rumblings. We've heard the rumors. Sometimes you can just see it, but you just didn't think Denzel Washington. Why would I think Denzel Washington's above that? Because it's how he carries himself. It's how he carries himself. Think about where you were at in life. Some of you guys watching might be too young to remember this, but think of where you were, or mentally, your emotional state when you found out about your favorite celebrity being caught up in a scandal. I remember when Mike Tyson got caught up in the whole R trial, in the early 90s. Whether he was guilty or not, he served time. And I remember how that shocked just the sports world and maybe the country. I don't know if it shocked the world. Maybe it did. I don't know. I don't like to speak on the world. Some of the world doesn't care about the United States, and what we go through here. But it shocked the country because Mike Tyson was everything in the boxing world. And for a young me, who was a big boxing fan, seeing one of your favorites go down like that was tragic. We think about guys, the Kobe Bryant trial in the early 2000s, devastating, whether it was a lie or not, devastating. You know what I mean? And just watching that in real time was it blew my mind. Just some of the guys that I can remember just being glued to the tube, the O.J. Simpson trial. For those of us growing up in the 80s, maybe even the 70s, O.J. was everything, from the Naked Gun movies to just the Hertz commercials. He was on NBC as a sideline reporter. He was everybody's favorite. And then to watch the O.J. trial in the mid-90s, that was must-see television. That was better than anything that's on television now, and there's multiple scandals that we can go through. And Denzel's situation isn't a scandal. It's not scandalous, but it's a little heartbreaking because Denzel was like the last celebrity from the old school that you felt secure about. He's a religious guy. He's been with his wife, whatever. I don't, again, know the full detail because no one ever knows. But from what I see on the screen, he's a model citizen. So just to know that Denzel had a situation where he was acting and kissed another male. It's like, dude, like you waited to now to do all this? You waited to now? Like what happened? You waited to now to admit to, being a hard on alcohol and trying a hard drug once or twice or whatever the number was. Like you waited to now. His sons are on the rise now in the industry as producers and actors. Like, I don't know if this is something Hollywood requires you to do when you reach a certain plateau. I just don't know. I know there's a lot of darkness in this industry, but it's just like, it was just heartbreaking, man. It was heartbreaking. And again, maybe I shouldn't be heartbroken. Maybe I shouldn't be, again, he's a human being, but it's just tough. It's just tough to watch some of your favorites just go down and fall victim, and you can name anybody, black, white, male, female, you can name anyone. A lot of them have gone through some kind of scandal. Think about where you were when you first heard about Michael Jackson. It just goes on and on and on and on. Look at Diddy right now. These are people that were on our screens for so long. And then when you hear about a little hiccup, a little mishap, you're just like, damn, like you too? I mean, my goodness. So it just, to sum it up, it just basically boils down to just don't worship these guys or gals. Just don't. They've been in these, meetings. They've been in these industries for years. They've seen everything. They've probably done and tried everything. They've thought of everything. Don't let these celebrities taint your mind. If you don't have anyone to look up to, heck, I don't know, figure it out. I know everybody doesn't have their mom and dad. I know everybody can't look into, a spouse or look up to a spouse or look up to their children or, you got to pick and choose, but you got to pick and choose wisely, because if you choose celebrities and then years later you find out stuff, you're done. It's why I refuse to put entertainers on my skin. I will not ink myself up with any, I thought about it a few times. Certain people that were inspirational to me, I thought about tatting their face like a portrait. I thought about it once or twice. But then I was like, what happens if like 10 years down the line, this person that I'm thinking about is in a scandal, or he's long deceased and something comes up out of the woodwork? Like, what happens? Now that person's, face is on my skin. Imagine those out here who have like Bad Boy or Diddy, portraits on their bodies. Or just, whomever you can think of that was caught up in the scandal. Imagine if you went out here and got a tattoo of that person or tatted up their brand. You put that person's brand on your skin. And then you find out years later they were just like doing everything, just wilding the F out. Now, what do you do? You know, what do you do? So it's why I stayed away from putting portraits on my body and just, I'm not doing it. I'm not putting anyone who's a hard addict, anyone who's done some weird-ish, I'm not putting anybody on my skin. And I would think the young people who are watching should just think twice about doing that. Just use your own discretion, but just be smart. But again, Denzel Washington, who, is making his rounds right now with his movie and with his son's, recent film, he's doing a lot of talking. He's doing a lot of interviews right now, and he's just being very candid. And like I said, I applaud his transparency. He's human, but it is a little heartbreaking to find out that he too was a victim of a lot of the vices that, we know about Hollywood. And again, he should be applauded for being sober for the last decade. I'm sure that isn't easy, especially with the pressure of being a producer or a high level actor. I'm sure it's a lot of pressure, but tough to watch. Stay away from these athletes, stay away from these entertainers, just enjoy them in those moments. And that's it. I wouldn't sweat them. Don't ask for pictures. Don't ask for autographs. For what? I've met plenty of celebrities, by the way. Plenty over my lifetime. You get a salute. I might give you a fist bump. I might give you a pound. You're not. I don't because I just don't trust it. I just don't trust you guys. You guys are known to be problematic at times. Not all. We know not all celebrities are bad. We know this. But when the truth starts coming to the light, it's just like, oh, really? Like him, her? Oh man. It's a tough pill to swallow.